kind of things do you think of when you hear the word bat? Maybe think about vampires, or familiar cartoon characters. Maybe the words bite and scary come to mind. But when I think about the word bat, words like important, ecosystem, and keystone come to mind. There are many different species of bats in the world, but let's try to focus on one for now. The scientific name of a specific bat species in my area would be Myotis sodalis. The common name of this animal is the Indiana bat. The type of organism the Indiana bat would be classified as is a mammal. The Indiana bat is a part of the kingdom Animalia. It is part of Phylum Chordata and the subphylum Vertebrata. It belongs to the class Mammalia and the superclass Tetrapoda. The Indiana bat plays a large role in our ecosystem because they are insectivores, meaning they eat insects. Without them, the population of insects would increase and they would bother and harm humans to a greater extent than they do now. They tend to eat most flying insects, such as flies, moths, and beetles. Not to mention that their excrement helps to support the foundation of a cave's food chain, making them a vital or keystone species. It is shown that there are about half as many bats as there were in North America today than there were when they were first listed as endangered in 1867. Indiana bats can be found in the southern eastern part of the United States and have been spotted in over 22 different states from Iowa to Georgia. These animals prefer wooded areas in the warmer months. They like to have dead and or dying trees to sleep in during summer. When it gets colder and snow starts to fall, they like to find a hibernaculum such as caves to hibernate in with a temperature above freezing but under 10 degrees Celsius. There are many reasons as to why the Indiana bats are on the endangered species list. Two of the leading reasons being habitat loss and human disturbance, which most of the time go hand in hand. There's also the fact that most bats only have one baby a year, so their populations increase at a slow rate. Though luckily, there are several programs set in place for helping to save them by organizations such as the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that are currently revising a recovery plan, and other national wildlife reserves that are encouraged to join in on the conservation efforts for these animals. Though there are a few more things we could do to help save the Indiana bats as well as other bat populations. One of these things would be to join in and contribute to science by conducting our own citizen science, recording observations about the bats, like when and where you see them, and what state the bat is in when seen. That way we could join together across the country, keeping a larger and more recent record of the bats, their ranges, and more. You can find ways to do this through websites such as citizenscience.gov and the surplus of free citizen science apps like Project NOAA. Another thing we could do to help the bats would be to build bat houses. Bat houses can help protect the bats, giving them a safe place to stay, while also cutting down on the insect population in the area. You can help by installing pre-made bat houses. Here's one that I purchased from my local hardware store, but you can also build your own. Bat house instructions can be found online at the National Wildlife Federation, or NWF.org, batcon.org, and more. Bats, despite the representation given to them by the media, are an important part of our ecosystem, doing things such as increasing biodiversity, pollinating, insect control, and more. With nearly 200 bat species around the world being endangered, it's crucial more than ever to aid in their conservation. So let's work together, stop misinformation, and start on our journey to preserve the bat species.